Jordan Cameron is another multi-genre artist based in Stratford, PEI. We used to play shows together, and I was happy to be a member of his band for a time. We talked about his disastrous attempt at playing bass as a kid, finding his main instrument in the guitar, tattooing, owning a business, writing novellas, painting murals, parenting. This guy does it all.
You don't know what to do, and you don't know what to say. Forget all that. Start anyway. Spark that fire and build it high and watch it burn. Then let it die.
Hi, Jordan.
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. This is really cool.
When I was thinking about you and your art, it seems like a lot of different phases, a lot of different projects, a lot of starts, a lot of something, a lot of I'm going to do this now. We'll get into a bunch of that. But I'm really wondering what art and creativity looks like for you these days.
Ooh, good question. Music is a big one. Kind of tiptoeing back into the music world, doing more recording. But also just writing in general has been a really good outlet lately. I think I tricked myself into journaling, which is kind of cool.
Tell us how you did that, because I'm sure lots of people want to know the secret.
I've attempted journaling many times over my life, and I've never liked the results. It tends to be an outlet for only the bad thoughts, and then I look back at the writing and I'm like, oh, no. But more recently, I've started writing about my saga with surgery that I had just over a year ago. And while writing about it, I've been working on a play about it. And the play is about surgery, but more importantly, it's about the whole journey of recovery after the surgery. And I've been working with a dramaturge who's probably somebody you should talk to as well. And I was explaining to him how I'm writing this down, and it's kind of just word vomit at the time, where I'm getting everything out on the page, and then I'm going to refine it into something that's presentable to an audience. And he said, I think you tricked yourself into journaling, my dude. I said, oh, I did. Because every morning I would head to the coffee shop, I would sit there and I would write for a good hour. And yeah, it felt good. And then I got all that out, and then I haven't moved on to the phase of refining it yet, because it was kind of exhausting getting all that out. But yeah, like lots of writing, going back to lots of illustration as well. That's always been a facet that I've really loved to do. And yeah, music, drawing, writing, those are probably the main three these days. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I remember, I think it was a few years ago, you gave me the first part of a novella or a short novel. Yes. I don't think I read the second part yet.
Yeah. I don't think I ever released the second part.
I
hyper-focused on something else and kind of moved on. But just recently in the past week, I actually started a Substack, and I'm loading up the novella one chapter at a time onto there. So
cool.
You can follow along on there if you want.
I'll do that. Yeah, it was a great story. When it comes to longer form writing, when did that kind of spark as something that you wanted to do?
That started probably around 2020, 2021. It was midst of pandemic life. Needed to do something with my time and with my hands. And so every morning I was getting up super early because the kids were up early, and I'd make a coffee and I'd sit down and I'd write it like a chapter or two at a time. It was nice. That Dovetail, I think, was the name of that novella. Yeah. That one just kind of poured out. I wrote that one really quickly. And I've written another one since as well that I'll eventually upload onto Substack as well. But Dovetail is really special to me, really close to my heart. It is a heavy tale, but it's a tale, I think, filled with hope. The further into it you get, you realize that there's little silver linings everywhere to kind of cling to. Yeah.
Did you find any kind of difference between writing something like that versus writing songs?
So I approached it very similarly, and I think because of that, people have told me my writing is kind of double-sided. In one hand, it's very, very straightforward and to the point, and then in other sentences, I get very lyrical with things, and I think it kind of catches people off guard. But yeah, so I kind of approach my long form like I did songwriting in that sense, where like I like my songs to be to the point, but I like to be playful with words as well.
I'm thinking that maybe writing stories and poems maybe lends itself to parenting at the same time a little bit better than writing songs.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. It's hard to write a song when you got 3 little ones running around. And my middle one is not, should we say, inspired by music, and I will sometimes get yelled at to stop playing music. So sitting quietly at my laptop writing a story is a more productive use of my time when the kids are around.
Right. I'm wondering how you got it started playing music. Were you playing guitar as a little kid, or?
I didn't start playing guitar till high school. I attempted to play bass in junior high, and it went horribly wrong. Bass just does not click in my brain. You have to be wired different to be a really good bass player, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned a few songs, and that was kind of it. Had a disastrous run with a jazz band, and was finally very nicely told by a conductor, "You need to stop." So I did. And then my mom gave me her old acoustic guitar when I was in high school and started just, strumming chords. I found one song that I could sing and play. It was Glycerine by Bush.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think that's the first song a lot of people learn. It's like 3 chords. It's pretty easy. But yeah, just kind of fell in love with it. And then inspired by my grandfather, I kind of adapted a pretty unique finger picking style as well, that I still carry to this day. And yeah, then the songs didn't really start coming until after high school. I did some traveling for a few years, and then during that traveling time, I usually had a guitar with me, and that's when I started kind of noodling around, being like, maybe this could be a song. And then when I came home from traveling, that's when the songs really started pouring out, and that's when I started actually recording some of them.
Was this before, during, or after your modeling career?
This was right after. Yeah. So that's my I call them my traveling years, but yeah, that was my modeling years. And yeah, whenever it was easy to travel with a guitar, I always had one with me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Were you doing any journaling or note-taking during those traveling years?
Those years were my first attempt at journaling, and the time that I was when I would look back at my writing and be like, "Oh, this is bad. This is not good."
But it's a window into yourself at that time.
It
right?
is
It must
a window.
be interesting.
Yes, it was a horrifying window. They weren't necessarily very happy years, my modeling years. So it was. It's a very interesting industry to be in, but you are a commodity in no unsure terms, basically, and it's a strange dynamic to get used to.
Yeah, and probably you had a lot to get out of your brain in the
Yes.
years after that.
Oh yeah, lots to digest, and then I'm still doing it. Yeah, like even in the past few years, there's been some events from those years where at the time I was like, that was fine, and now I'm looking back and I'm like, nope, that was trauma. That was pure trauma. Yeah, like I have stories I like to tell people when they ask for like good stories from the modeling years. One of them is titled "The Time I Got Half Roofied in Singapore," and I was telling it at a party, and somebody looked at me and they were like, "That's not a good story."
It's horrible.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing what we can go through as kids, basically.
Yes.
And just roll on through.
Yeah, no, I was 17. I left to go modeling 2 days after I graduated high school and had never been to a big city before. And then immediately I was in Toronto, then New York, then Milan, then Singapore. And it was, yeah, you're good at adapting at that age. But like looking back, I'm just like, I have no idea what I was doing there. It was kind of wild. Yeah, but lots of good stories from it.
It's quite the segue, but tell me about your love of the ukulele.
Oh, yeah. So I keep telling people, if you want to learn the ukulele, step 1 is start smoking. Step 2 is quit smoking and buy a ukulele. Right. And you will play 12 hours a day to keep your hands busy. And in no time at all, you'll be up and running. And that's honestly how I did it. The first time I quit smoking would have been, I don't know, 19 or 20, around there. And yeah, I bought myself a little ukulele, and just so happened that within a couple days, I decided to quit smoking, and it was in my hands all day, every day. And just really fell in love with it. People, I think, misinterpret it as a very simplistic instrument, which it is. Like, and that's the wonderful thing about it. You can do what you want with it. You can, if you just want to strum 3 chords and sing some tunes, you can do that. If you want to learn like really intricate classical pieces, like with finger picking, you can do that as well. Limitation breeds creativity has always been one of my mottos. And there's nothing more limiting than 4 strings and a tiny fretboard.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love the ukulele. It's a beautiful little instrument.
And how many albums did you put out?
So my first EP had no ukulele on it. That was before I picked it up. And then my second album was like probably 50-50 ukulele and guitar. And then I did a live album in there somewhere that had ukulele on it. And then the last full-length album I did was probably like 40% ukulele as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where do you think your inspiration comes from when you're writing songs?
I've always approached my songs like little stories, and I think that's why it was such an easy transition to writing long form. When you listen back to most of my albums, all my songs are really just tiny little stories, and that came from just the songwriters that I loved at the time, you know. I've always loved the idea of just painting a picture with a little story and then moving on. So yeah, like, and I think that's also why I liked the ukulele. It was an easy instrument to write on as well. Yeah. You can just like keep the music simple and then tell a very detailed story with the lyrics was something that I was always a fan of. Like my songs I used to use a loop station a lot as well. So my songs are very cyclical. They're very like repetitive, but the lyrics are where I create a lot of diversity in them, I think.
Yeah, I remember playing with you and the loop station being a big part of the show. What did you love about being able to loop things?
I just loved kind of the performance of it. It was always fun watching people's reaction when they realized like, oh, he's building a song in front of me. I think at one point it became too much of a crutch and a dependence in my sets. So like, it's strange to say I don't use a loop station at all anymore in my performances. And that's just something that kind of naturally happened. But no, I love the loop station. Like I would love just like laying down layers and building it up and layering some vocals so you can harmonize with yourself, things like that. But yeah, no, it's a beautiful, like you can really use a loop station as like a separate instrument, I find. And that's where like you can just do a couple layers or you can go really crazy with like a dozen layers and really build it up. At some point you have to kind of respect your audience and be like, maybe they don't want to sit there and watch this the whole time. Yeah. So there's a fine line, I find, with loop stations.
Do you do any home recording?
I did at one point, and then I gave up on that. I found, I didn't really have a dedicated space for it. So anytime I wanted to record, I had to set everything up. And then by the time it was set up, I was like, well, now I'm tired.
Yeah.
And I'm not in the mood to record. If you have a dedicated space, I think it really lends to when inspiration strikes, you can just go in, hit record, and lay something down. I think that's really the ideal setup. But during pandemic, I did do a couple home recordings just with a little synth, my guitar, and a laptop. And I released those under a different name, Saint Radford, on Spotify. And they're a lot more kind of electronic, but like folk electronic, if that makes any sense. And that was really the only successful time that I home recorded anything past like demo quality.
Yeah. I was just thinking of how fun it is to record at home and layer things and play around and layer things.
Yeah.
I've never done anything live with the looper, but I'm expecting that it's a similar kind of feel.
And I think that's where I got it out of my system, was on stage with the looper, was recording in that form. And that really left me not with much desire to do a lot of it at home, I guess. Yeah. And I love like the studio environment. I love like, okay, I'm going here to record, to be productive. I find that really helpful for me personally. You
do a lot of visual art too, or at least have. I know you've done murals and paintings and all sorts of stuff. What does that form of art do for you? How do you like to express yourself through that medium?
Yeah, murals are something I kind of just stumbled into. From a book I read years ago, I kind of adapted this philosophy that if somebody asks if you can do something, put your hand up and say, yeah, I can do that, even if you can't, and then figure it out. And that's kind of how I stumbled into murals. Somebody messaged me. There was a festival happening in Charlottetown. There was a muralist lined up. Something happened. They couldn't make it from Halifax. And they were like, "Can you paint a mural?" And I'd never painted a mural in my life. I painted canvases and I illustrated. And I was like, "Yeah, I can do a mural." So I showed up and I did a mural, and I approached it the same way I would approach painting a canvas, which I've learned a lot since then. I've done probably close to 10 murals now at this point. So I've learned how to do it more effectively and more productively. But this first time, it was really just literally throwing paint at the wall and seeing what sticks. Learned how to mix my paints properly for it. And there was another muralist there who I was super honest with, and I was like, "I've never done this." And they gave me a lot of really helpful tips that first day. So that was a really amazing first experience. And then, yeah, like once you're on, I got on somebody's list. I don't know whose, but apparently if you need a mural done in Charlottetown, I'm one of the people you call now. And so it like work makes work is always something I say. You do something and people will start contacting you to do more of it.
Yeah.
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 And you said you learned a lot, like how to mix paints differently, etc. Like, what is it like to paint something for a public place versus painting something on a canvas for yourself?
Yeah, very different. There's almost a level of performance to it, because if you're painting it in the public environment, people are going to come up, they're going to ask questions, they're going to want to hang out and talk. And you got to learn how to work and talk, otherwise you'll never get the mural done.
Sometimes to drunk people if you do it at a brewery.
Yes, absolutely. That's happened. And yeah, it adds a really kind of interesting dynamic to it that I do really love. The interactiveness of it when people, because the way I do my murals is I start with big loose colors and then I'll paint a little more detail. But what I do is the final step is I outline everything in black to give it a really bold shape, kind of the same way that I was taught to approach tattooing. Everything gets a big, bold black outline. It's a very old school method. And I love kind of the reveal of it because my murals kind of look like a hot mess until I put the black outline on. And then that defines all the shapes, and then you add the details that way. And so I've done murals at like outdoor restaurant patios. And I've heard whispers the whole time I'm painting it of people being like, "What is he painting?" And then I start putting the black outline on, and you can almost hear like a collective gasp when they realize like, "Oh, he has a plan." So that's a really fun part of it as well. It's kind of like the final curtain pull for like the mural. Yeah.
Have you ever done any that they used to have those art battles in Charlottetown? Did you ever do any of those?
I was on the list to do one, and then they stopped doing them. Yeah. But no, that would have been a fun experience. It would have been horrifying, but it would have been quite fun.
Yeah, I never did go to one, mostly because I'm a recluse that stays at home. But they did look really cool, and a few of my artist friends have done them. Yeah,
and I didn't do an art battle, but one of the last ones they did, they asked me to do a mural, just an outlined mural, so that the audience could paint it themselves. So that was one of the things they could do during the evening.
Neat.
Yeah.
Tattooing.
Yeah. Yeah. Another
Put your
one.
hand up and say, "I'll do it."
Yes. So back in like 2008, I did like a traditional apprenticeship with like old school coil machines. And that was really wonderful in a lot of ways and really horrible in many other ways. I learned all about like how you run a shop, the sanitization practices, and a lot of really good like staple knowledge about the tattoo industry and how to lay down good tattoos. Didn't have a great dynamic with my apprenticer, so that kind of fell through. But I did learn a lot, and then kind of decided at the time wasn't for me. And then fast forward to COVID, I was going out of my mind. A, looking for something to do, and B, desperate to be tattooed because I collect tattoos on my body quite prolifically. And I bought myself a hand poke kit because that was always something that interested me, and then ended up completely covering my left thigh like a scrapbook. Learned a lot about hand poking and really fell in love with the art form of hand poke tattoos. And then some friends started coming over to get it done. And then friends of friends started calling me. And I finally said, well, if I'm going to do this, I'd rather do it properly. So
Mhm.
I have a little private studio in my basement. It's like fully inspected and it's like registered with Health PEI, all that. And I do the occasional tattoo out of there.
I've been there. It's a great spot.
Yes. Yeah. We gave you a wonderful little spaceship abducting a human.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's still one of my favorites.
I want to talk about Next Level Cookie a little bit because
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody misses those cookies.
Yeah.
And I can't remember when you shut it down, but I mean, that must have, obviously that's a lot of work, just baking and making them, but there must have been quite a bit of creativity to go into that too, especially since it was your own business, you and your partner, Ashley.
Yes. Yeah. It was wonderful. And it just kind of happened so organically. We started it in 2018, where I was just looking for, I fell back in love with baking because I did study pastry arts at culinary many moons ago. And then fell back in love with baking when around the holidays, because we were doing a lot of baking for friends and family just because we were broke and that was a cheap gift to give everybody. But like a nice gift while still being cheap. And then in the new year in 2018, started kind of toying around with some ideas of like what would be kind of an interesting business. A lot of people were doing cupcakes at the time, so I felt that market was kind of filled. I've always been a huge fan of cookies, and then we came up with the idea for these kind of gourmet cookie sandwiches, which we named Next Level Cookies. And yeah, we started with pop-ups, and the pop-ups really took off. We would sell out in like 20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And then, so I was working out of a restaurant in Charlottetown. They were giving me kitchen space to use. And then when we finally realized, like, okay, I think there's something here, we actually turned a space in our basement into like a certified kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And that is now the tattoo space, actually. So at the time, it was wonderful. Like, I thought that was going to be my gig forever. I had a bakery in my basement. I would put the kids to bed, go down and bake cookies till like 2 a.m. I had a little TV on the wall where I would binge terrible Netflix shows while I portioned dough, and I loved it. It was a blast. And then we got a lot of standing orders from local businesses who were carrying our product, and we were still doing the pop-ups and taking a lot of private orders. So like my day was filled pretty much every day.
And your night, apparently.
And
Did
my
you
night.
sleep at all?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Your kids were little then.
My kids
too.
were little. Yeah. Yeah.
Wild.
When we only had 2 at the time as well. So that was another really interesting thing. And then good old COVID hit.
Mm-hmm.
And our business shut down because everything shut down. The world stopped. And it was very scary. All the standing orders disappeared. We had done our first wedding show, I want to say a month before lockdown hit. And I booked, I think, about 16 weddings for the 2020 summer. And that was an industry we were just starting to tiptoe into. We did our first wedding show. And then in a 2-week time period, one after another, they all canceled. All the standing orders canceled. And we said, okay, we gotta close her down for now, was kind of the decision. And then it was closed for months. And then when the world slowly kind of came back to life, we kind of tiptoed back into it. But a lot of guidelines had changed. The way we were going to do pop-ups was going to look very different because of new regulations. Standing orders were gone because restaurants weren't busy anymore because nobody was going to restaurants. And so we were kind of faced with this crossroad where if we were going to continue, we were going to have to radically change our business model, and we were going to have to level up in a big way, which would be a storefront with staff, basically like an assembly line business model. And I said to my wife, I'm like, we could do it. We could do this. It's going to cost us the best years of our kids' lives. We're going to be exhausted running a business, being employers. And we just kind of decided that wasn't for us. And maybe Next Level Cookie was just kind of a magical little phase in our lives that we wished was still around, but we were glad it was for as long as it was. And then I also had an opportunity. Somebody approached me willing to buy all of my equipment in one go. So that was kind of the final nail in the coffin. I was like, yep, get it out of here. So yeah. But then like something kind of beautiful happened with the tattoo studio, because for a long time, it was a really sad space. We didn't go into it. It was this
Mm.
empty gray room that used
Dash
to be a
dreams.
bakery. Yes. Yeah. It was literally a tomb of my dreams. And then when I was thinking about doing a little private tattoo studio, I called Environmental Health and I said, hey, I've got an old bakery. How hard is it to turn that into a tattoo studio? And she said, well, if you have a hand washing station, it already is a tattoo studio. So we dressed it
Easy.
up a little fancier. And now it's a beautiful space for more creative endeavors, which
Mhm.
it felt really nice to reclaim that.
Yeah, and now I'm thinking that when you recognize that if you were going to go full tilt into a physical business like that you would have to sacrifice certain things as parents, you probably also realize you have to sacrifice a lot of your own creativity
Yes.
and
Yeah.
artistic dreams as
Yeah.
well.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, and it was just, it was a real crossroad. It was like, we can go down this road and hopefully be successful at it, but it's going to be exhausting and it's going to take as much as it gives, was
Mhm.
kind of my thinking at the time.
Mhm. Did you learn anything in that experience that might help you on the business side of your other artistic pursuits like music?
Yeah. Running a business finally taught me how to say no. Because you have to say no a lot when you start up a business. That was something that really blew my mind, is how many people will come out of the woodwork with very strange requests. Also looking for a lot of free stuff. And you wish you could do it all, but you can't. You can't do all that and turn a profit. So we got really comfortable saying no. We were in the luxurious position of having a product that people wanted and were willing to pay for. So we were in like kind of a privileged position to be able to say no to a lot of things. We had to say no to as many opportunities as we were able to say yes to. And so that got me really comfortable, I guess, saying no to things, because I used to very often overcommit myself, and then I would be completely drawn too thin and I'd start canceling everything because I was just completely overwhelmed. And I find I don't fall into that loop anymore since we ran the business, which is one really nice lesson I took from it.
Yeah. Are there any other creative avenues that you would want to go down that you haven't explored yet? Like making art in any particular, way that you haven't tried yet? You seem to have done it all, basically.
I've done a lot, probably too much. The past couple of years, I've really been focusing on reeling myself in. I've been kind of hyper aware of, there's a fine line between people thinking, oh, he's a jack of all trades, and people just thinking he can't commit to one goddamn thing. There's kind of an inherent flakiness that comes with the desire to try many things, I guess. And so that's something I've been trying to like really choose a few creative endeavors and focus my energy and time on those. Even when things start to feel stale, stay the course has been one lesson that I've really been trying to learn the past couple of years. Because normally, I'm not booking a lot of gigs. Okay, I'm done with music for now. I'm going to move on to murals. Oh, I'm not booking a lot of murals. Okay, I'm going to put that aside and move on to illustration. Fighting that urge to quickly move on to things has been one lesson I've been trying to really take home the past couple of years. Yeah.
What is it like having a partner who is also an artist?
It is a double-edged sword. My wife is built different than almost any human I know, where we've been together since grade 11, about 22 years now. And in grade 12, she said, what do you want to do after high school? And I said, I have no idea. I said, what do you want to do after high school? And she said, I'm accepted into graphic design, which I had no idea about. And she went straight from high school into a graphic design program, took it for 2 years, graduated, went straight to work in graphic design and never looked back. And she works in a very creative field, and she uses her creative powers every single day. And she genuinely hasn't looked back once, and it astounds me. Because I've done 25 different things in the 22 years we've been together. And I think that's part of my ADHD, and I have the attention span of a carrot. And that is something I'm really trying to work on when I say, like, I'm trying to stay the course. But it's really wonderful. Like, she has such a beautiful way of thinking about things and looking at things. But she's such a steady force also, which doesn't always come with a creative personality. So she really is an anomaly. Like Next Level Cookie was perfect. I was the baker. I baked the product. She's a graphic designer and a marketer. She marketed the product. And her social media took our product to like an entirely different level than it would have been if it was just me making cookies and hitting up the farmer's market or hitting up little pop-ups.
It was everywhere.
It was everywhere. Yeah.
And I wanted them all of the time.
Yes.
So she did a great job.
Yeah. I always joked that we went with the Nintendo business model. You make something everybody wants, then you make sure most of them never get it.
Awesome.
And so like now even like she's found other passions, but she still has always stayed very loyal to graphic design and marketing. She's huge into thrifting these days. She runs like a beautiful Instagram account all about thrifting and how to do home decor with thrifted items. But yeah, like she really is an anomaly when it comes to a creative personality because she creates every day. She uses that part of her brain every day, but she's still such a constant, steady force. It really blows my mind. Yeah.
And was it on that Instagram account where the post blew up about your mural? And
no, that was just our private accounts.
Okay.
Yeah, that was wild.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, so when I was in my big kick of painting a lot of murals, I still do one now and then, but at the time I was doing a lot. I painted a big dinosaur mural in our son's room. And at the time, it was just his room. And I hid cameras in the room. He was gone for the weekend. And I hid cameras in the room for when he got home and we revealed the big mural. And he was kind of the master of like underwhelming reactions to things. So I was like, I don't know why I'm doing this. But he walked in and he was just blown away. And he had the best, most beautiful reaction. And we made a little video about it at the time, posted it, and then moved on. It didn't really get, like, nobody really cared, and that was fine. I made it for myself. And then fast forward to this past summer, now we have 2 boys in that room. They were in a set of bunk beds that I was terrified to put them to bed because it was rickety and it was going to fall apart and one of them was going to get crushed. So it came time that I said, okay, I'm going to use some of my carpentry skills and I'm going to build them a new loft bed for both boys with space under it for desks so we can get a lot more use out of this room. And the bed was going to be built against the wall. So I said, well, the mural doesn't really fit anymore. And so I asked the boys, do you want to keep the mural or do you want us to paint it over? And they thought about it and they said, you can paint it over. They said, we're not really into dinosaurs anymore. And a piece of me shattered. But I said, okay, they want it painted over. So we got out the paint and then I'm about to paint over the wall and Ashley comes running into the room and she goes, wait. And she holds up her camera to film it. And I'm like, why in God's name are you filming this? And she says, I just want to make a little reel. I was like, about what? She's like, it's just, it's a big change. And I said, okay, make your little reel. So I painted over the wall. She taped it. I thought she was crazy. And then I forgot that she has incredible video editing skills. And she made this reel that composited the footage of Finn as this little 4-year-old first seeing the mural with footage of me painting it over and him now almost 11 happy in his room that it's now a space that he feels represents him again. And she showed me the reel and I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, I get it. I see what you're doing. And then she posted it and we went to bed. And I woke up the next morning and I looked at her and I said, that reel has 5,000 likes. And she said, what are you talking about? And apparently it just clicked. Almost everybody who's a parent, and I think a lot of people who aren't parents, they really clicked with it, with that just like such a visual representation of a big end of a chapter and a new one opening.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that every parent deals with, whether we want to or not. And it breaks your heart, and it's going to break your heart a million times. And it just really clicked with people, and they really responded to it. And then our phones just started going crazy. And then I think it capped at something like 60 million views on Instagram. That was back in July. I still get daily notifications about it now.
Wow.
Like, what are we, 7 months later, around there? Yeah, every time I open my Instagram, there's still new notifications. And it was really cool to see it kind of transition through different parts of the world. We would be getting all comments in Spanish, and then we'd be getting all comments in Italian. And you would just see like, okay, it's hit the algorithm in this part of the world now. And it was just all these beautiful comments from people just saying like, I know that feeling. I've done this.
Mm-hmm.
I have a little boy who loves dinosaurs, and I'm going to have to paint his room soon. Or I have a daughter who loves Barbies, and she told me to get rid of the Barbies last week.
Yeah.
And it struck such a chord, or maybe even a nerve, with so many parents. And it was kind of this beautiful little moment. It turned into this really kind of beautiful corner of the internet for a while, where like there wasn't really any haters in the comments. It was all just really beautiful, nice comments. And then and then for some reason I got like thousands more followers, as did my wife. And I'm like, we don't post this that often. I don't know what y'all think you're doing here, but yeah, it's been kind of crazy. It was weird to get a taste of, I guess, going viral, for lack of a better term. And like everything that comes with it. It was kind of strange. And 2 days out, I looked at my wife and said, CBC is going to call. And then within hours, CBC called, and we did a CBC interview. Yeah. But no, it was fun. It was, I just, again, she saw something I didn't see. And you got to trust your partner sometimes to just go with something.
Yeah. That's the magic of collaboration.
Yes.
And I think that's probably today's version of having your 15 minutes of fame, is having something go viral.
Absolutely. Yep. Big time. And like, it was funny because like there's this really famous social media account, The Birds Papaya, in Canada. And my wife was saying, she's like, I just really want her to see it, because she's been a huge fan of hers forever. And then one day I opened it up and there was a comment from The Birds Papaya on the reel. And I took a screenshot and sent it to my wife, and she was like, oh my God. So that was kind of cool. Just seeing like all the different people that it reached in the different parts of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super cool. Are you going to have any new music out in the world?
Yeah, I actually have new music coming hopefully this spring. I've been doing some recording with Logan Richard, and it has been a dream. He's so incredible to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of horrifying. I think he might be a wizard. Like 200 years ago, he would have burned this man at the stake for the things he can do in a recording studio. But it's just incredible. Anytime I hear something in my head, he's already turning to me and saying, can I try something? And then the thing he tries is exactly what I'm hearing in my head. And I've never been as happy with some of my recorded music as I am with these new recordings. So I'm really excited about that. There's some of the most personal songs I've ever written as well. They're not as much a story that I made up as just a story I've written down about things that have happened to me over the past several years, both with kids, with the surgery saga, all those things. So that's one of the main things I'm really excited about right now. I'm aiming for a little EP. So hopefully like 6 tracks sometime in the spring. And then, I'm new to this whole Substack thing, and I'm really enjoying it. It's like, seems like a much happier little corner of the internet than most social media sites I've ever been on. It's full of creative minds who just want to write, even if they're screaming into the void. It's a happy void, which is kind of rewarding. But yeah, I'm really excited about that. I'm loading my novella and just some random writings onto there. The novella is going up 1 chapter at a time, 1 or 2 chapters a week. And so those are the 2 things. If you want to keep up with what I'm up to, Substack and Spotify, I guess, will be the areas people can find me.
Thank you so much.
No worries.
For coming up.
It's nothing and everything. It's a gentle sigh and a scream into the void. It can leave you. It can be you if you let It can make you cry. It can dry your eyes. It can be the one that keeps you warm inside. And it breaks your heart, then tells you where to start if you let it. You don't know what to do, and you don't know what to say. Forget all that. Start anyway. Spark that fire, then build it high. Watch it burn and let it die. It can make you stand up, make you fly. It's a lifetime. In the blink of an eye, it's obsession and objection to the status quo. You got a lot to do, and you got a lot to say. Just write it out, get it on the page. Find your crew, get mobilized, and maybe soon you'll realize that it's nothing and everything. It's a gentle sigh and a scream into the void. It can leave you, it can be you if you let it.